You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, listen up. U.S. Cellular wants to help everyone get the gift of connection this holiday season. Already a customer? This applies to you too, because right now, new and current customers can get any phone, and I mean any phone, for free. Yes, free. Sounds like it's time to make the switch. Spread the holiday cheer far and wide this season with a new phone. Everyone can get the gift of connection at U.S. Cellular. Get any phone free today. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
Stugotz, I got derailed from what is supposed to be live coverage of all things NFL and Miami Dolphins.
By Chip Kelly.
Stugotz, well, the business is fascinating to me. What is happening in the business of giant football? Because Saturdays are rivaling Sundays now, Stugotz. Mm-hmm. So I am fascinated that they have to build the whole scaffolding to whatever the future looks like with the TV money and the crowdsourcing. Like, these salaries are going to go crazy because Texas isn't going to miss out on quarterbacks. Like, they're going to, if we're going to make this about money, then Texas A&M is going to spend oil money, so they've got a great little toy there that gets the recruits. And so if we're going to make it that brazen, there's not going to be a salary cap. You're now going to see tycoons. Why does Phil Knight get to own his own program? I want to own my own program.
Sure.
I'm going to buy a minor league college football team.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. Again, the real benefit is the other colleges. We talked about FIU and losing a player to Notre Dame, but Syracuse got a player from Ohio State. Like, damn, schools like Texas and I guess, Florida State, Miami back in the day, they have options at quarterback. And so some of these quarterbacks get there and they realize, hey, I'm not going to play for 2 or 3 seasons. And I want to play and make money. So now I can go to Syracuse, make $1 million and throw for 4,000 yards.
And see if I can make that a program that matters.
Yes.
But yesterday, some things happened in football that I want to get to. But I'm in the rare position of the Dolphins are now a national story. Do you know how rare this is? Like, it's super rare for the Dolphins to be. You're watching yesterday. That was a lot of bad football. That is a historic first for me this season. Fell asleep during the 1 o'clock games. Dead asleep. Hasn't happened to me. My wife says, as tired as I am, that the only thing that keeps me awake is football.
Mm-hmm.
That otherwise, I'm just collapsing. 1 o'clock games, done. Couldn't do it. So many unders yesterday. Forgot that there was football Saturday. Not the only one that happened to, correct? Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Did you forget until it had started that the NFL was playing on Saturday? It's going to be real confusing this next week. It's Bills and Chargers, and it's just on Peacock, I think.
It is. You're right, Dan. It's just on Peacock.
A lot of people are just going to miss that game. Jessica, why are you shaking your head?
I mean, welcome to hell. This has been Notre Dame and Big Ten fans' fate for the last 2 seasons, putting games exclusively on Peacock, and then your grandma calls and says, oh, I can turn Peacock on, and you're like, Grandma, I can't do this over the phone right now.
If you have a grandparent or a parent that is like Dan and Stugotz and they have Xfinity, tell them to just say the game into the remote, and it's built in.
You got to push a button first.
Built in.
Really?
Yeah, Peacock is owned by
Which
Xfinity.
button?
So just say Notre Dame into your microphone in your remote, and you're good.
And it might not get it the first time, but that second time, it always works.
I had to find Pac-12 Network over the Thanksgiving holiday to watch the Notre Dame season finale against Stanford, and I had to download what's it called, Fubo, and get a Fubo Elite package for that night.
The free trial?
There's no shot in hell my parents would have been able to watch that game without me. There's just no shot.
There was a Pac-12 game, and it was the first time in about 12 years, and I bet on a lot of soccer in Azerbaijan. It was the first time I could not find a game that I was betting on, and it was in the Pac-12 because it was on Pac-12
All
network.
right, I've told you guys this story before, okay? Late in my grandfather's life, okay, as he's trying to figure out the transition from remote controls to cell phones and wireless phones. I asked my grandfather to answer a phone for me, my cell phone, while I was in another room, and I came in and he was trying to answer the remote control. Mm-hmm. You guys have just said to me, I have now just envisioned myself as my grandfather talking into a microphone. Notre Dame! Talking into a microphone. Notre Dame is what I'm looking for. And now it's going to be Bills Chargers. It's going to be on Saturday, Bills Chargers.
Were you aware that your remote control has a microphone?
I do, yes.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Well,
You're ahead of me.
One of the great things around here on Tuesdays is seeing Greg Cody talk into his phone to dictate his texts. He does not like typing his texts. He has learned how to do this. I've learned some very simple things. But, Mike.
I hate that. My phone's racist. Doesn't understand my accent. Don't think it's that thick. Everything that I say, it jumbles. I'm telling you right now, racist phone.
Biased? You believe the microphones
Racist.
are made by white people?
You try to take us down this path every day.
You've never made this
I'm taking you down the
before.
path today.
I can't believe
my
this.
phone is racist.
I'm shocked by what's happening right now.
My phone's
you always
racist.
avoid this. You're this guy. You're worse.
Well, no,
You've never had an opinion on race in 20 years of us doing this show.
Falsehoods. I just, I'm not going to say this Christmas present is racist. Not everything's racist. My phone is.
You've never said anything is racist.
My phone is.
You have never
I said it right
echoed.
now on record.
I can't
Unless
believe
it's,
this.
something that's going to come back legally and hurt this company, then I would never.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you already did it, so now we're here.
Well.
This is why you try to avoid it, because you don't want into these waters. Tell me more. You've got too much of an accent.
Apparently, it doesn't understand a GD thing I say, and I don't get it. I feel like I speak very clearly.
Is that the end of your accusation?
I'm trying to figure it out. You explain it to me. What could be? Do I enunciate poorly?
I don't think you have an accent. I don't know what you're
I don't either, but when I interned up in Washington for a summer, they told me that I had an accent. First I heard of it. Yeah.
Because you have a Miami accent, a Cuban accent?
Apparently Miami accent. I don't know.
Jessica, do you hear this?
No, but I did read recently that there's like a new recognized dialect of people in Miami have their own specific way of speaking now.
Billy,
that is not nowhere else is like it.
Billy, I think you've got a lane here to get aggregated by all of these political weaponization
I don't
sites.
want that.
No, you need this.
Nah, I don't want it.
No.
Can you say
what
literally?
do you mean?
Can you say the word literally?
Literally. But I have to say the word literally when it's not literally.
Yeah.
Producer
You know what I
for Lebitard show claims
an
his
accent.
phone
Know
is
exactly what you mean.
racist. That's a good
It'll just be
headline.
Lebitard says.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You
Dan
want that?
Lebitard, iPhones are racist.
Just figure out how to do it so that you can now get rewarded for your first ever in 20 years race take.
One of the little fun things I like to do is if I'm watching English soccer is I say it in the accent, Luton, and it actually figures it out. Like, what if I were an Englishman vacationing at a place where they have Xfinity? What's going to happen to that chap? So I just make sure that they can understand someone going, Luton, Crowley Town. And it just shows up on the TV. It's amazing. Barcelona shows up.
I will say this. Xfinity, when I had Xfinity, like their remote was very good at recognizing any accent. And so much so that like that, I would kind of change the way I would say things just to see how ridiculous I could get with some of the things that I would say and see that it would like recognize it. But not even like, I wouldn't even give myself like an accent. I would just speak like very demonic and see if it would be like, Peacock! And then see if it would take me to Peacock. Yeah, it always did.
You guys sound very lonely. You're not serious.
No, it's a fun
people.
game. You should try it.
The two of you playing with your you're playing with your
I'm about to wash dishes with
playing
someone
with
else
your
over the
remote
computer.
Sometimes I like to confuse them.
Is that what we call it these days?
Auburn, Alabama. And it's so like, oh, okay.
SEC.
Try to throw it off.
Yeah.
It's like an imaginary friend. You guys.
I want to watch Arsenal.
You guys
Put
are-
on Arsenal.
What are
Then
you
Arsenal.
teaching your kids? You guys are adults. You have children walking around watching Dad yell in accents at his Apple controller.
I mean, sometimes I do the Ed Orgeron voice just to make sure that when Ed wants to talk into his remote, that it'll understand what he's saying.
All right.
Very nice of you.
Varying
Do you not do
results.
these things? Dan, you're a costume guy. You don't ever do fake voices.
The Food Network.
No, but one of the funniest things that Valerie does enjoy is when I talk into the remote control to get a movie to come up because I don't feel like typing it and it takes me to the wrong place. It takes me to something else.
I don't like when that happens.
I mean, it happens all the time to me, and I don't think it's because I have an accent. I also don't think it's because I'm doing it wrong.
Holiday Bake Off on the Food Network.
Great show.
Halloween Bake Off. Big Duff fan. Season 7.
Jess, you're gonna love Stupidity this week. We talked
You
to
had
the
Guy
host.
Fieri?
No,
Oh.
we talked to the host of the Christmas Cookie Challenge.
Wait, who's the host of the Christmas Cookie Challenge?
Eddie Jackson.
Oh.
Yes.
He's hosting it this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I have so much to catch up on. I have one episode left of the Great British Bake Off. Great British Bake Off.
The Gilded Age.
Does your watch ever just start listening to you and like try to do? It happened to me twice last week on air, where Siri on my watch just started going to search for things. I said something about ketchup, and then Siri was telling me the history of ketchup. Look, right now, Siri's listening to me and is going to tell me about ketchup.
Yeah, you need to turn that feature off.
I don't know how to. I don't
It
know how.
thinks that you must have said Siri because then Siri turns on when you say Siri.
Okay. Now Siri's listening and doesn't want to talk.
And this is why it's so hard to explain to older people how to get Peacock on their TVs, Dan.
Young Sheldon.
The other thing that is happening to me, and clearly this is also happening to others, and it's not just because I'm your grandfather shouting into my remote.
Law and Order, organized. No. I wasn't. Law and Order, organized crime. Now you're just doing Law and Order. I said Law and Order, organized crime.
The speaker in the bathroom is listening to me. It talks sometimes by itself when I'm in another room. And
What speaker lives in the bathroom?
the speaker that I have in my bathroom.
Why do you have a speaker in your bathroom?
For music.
Smells in here.
For music.
90 Day Fiance, happily ever after.
This happens to the rest of you, correct?
I don't have a speaker in my bathroom.
Me neither. I have a speaker in my bathroom.
You guys don't have any devices that are talking to you?
I have a Sonos speaker in my bathroom if I ever want to sing out loud while I'm showering.
I go to my
Do
bathroom
the cool jerk.
to hear nothing.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
for silence.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Like, what are you doing? What did you just do? Why did you do that? You should be ashamed of yourself.
You could be talking to 3 different people at this point.
Stugotz.
Yes. Dolphins, relevant.
He's right. The Dolphins are relevant.
National story last time was Richie Incognito.
I am going to save it. I'm going to save it for
La Brea.
Wow.
for the rest.
Saving your thoughts.
I'm going to save I'm going to embargo my football thoughts. But I do want to ask you, like, what am I to do with the following? Like, we analyzed the hell out of this sport.
2 broke girls.
Good show.
The Dolphins
Love
tried.
the dark-haired one.
How'd they afford the place
Sassy.
where they lived?
Why is there a horse?
The Dolphins tried to replace their running back all offseason.
Did they ever mention the horse?
And Raheem Mostert has more touchdowns than anyone in franchise history.
NCIS. I'm not done yet. Hawaii.
And as many touchdowns as Christian McCaffrey. They tried to replace him all offseason. Are we really at the place where the coaches matter so much that the disposable position can produce more touchdowns? The most disposable position can produce the most touchdowns because your coach is better at offense than everyone
911.
else.
I'm okay. I just want the show. 911.
That's the future of professional football, and college football was won by that swamp monster, Ed Orgeron.
Abbott Elementary.
Today's episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is brought to you by Venmo. Look, no matter how your favorite team does this season, there's still one way to feel like a winner, and that's with Venmo. That's because when you use Venmo to add $100 or more to your DraftKings account, you'll get an extra $25 in DraftKings bonus credits. Just go to DraftKings.com/Venmo offer to activate your offer. Then choose Venmo to add funds to your DraftKings account, add $100 or more, and boom! 25 credits will appear in your DraftKings account if you're eligible. This offer is only good through December 31st, 2023 or while supplies last, so make your move before the shot clock runs out. Here's the deal. Venmo is a fast and easy way to add money on DraftKings. And if you don't have Venmo account yet, don't sweat it. Signing up in the app is super simple. So what are you waiting for? Just add $100 or more to your DraftKings account with Venmo and you'll get $25 in bonus credits. Go to DraftKings.com/Venmo offer and go get that bonus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Eligibility and age restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. Valid one per first time Venmo account transfer. Opt-in required. Minimum $100 transfer from your Venmo account to your DraftKings DFS account. $25 bonus issued as DK dollars that require one-time playthrough before withdrawal. See terms at DraftKings.com/Venmo offer.
Don Le Batard.
If all the raindrops were lemon drops and gumdrops, oh, what a rain that would be.
Stugotz.
Standing outside with my mouth open wide. If all the raindrops were lemon drops and gumdrops, oh, what a rain that would be.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
You're ready now? You're going to let the jackhammering go?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't that bad.
It's not.
I'm going to give it 5 minutes before I send a text.
All right. Who do you text?
I mean, by it not being that bad, I mean, it's not at the level that the mics will pick it up.
Okay.
All right. The jackhammer is how often making an appearance on our show?
I mean, it happens. We're still in a building that's under active construction, but typically it's not supposed to.
Well, you made a rule, right? You said nothing from 9 to 1. They're not supposed to be doing construction around us, right?
I mean, I didn't make a rule for others to be followed. I was brought in on that was supposed to be the understanding, and it looks like some construction's kicked up upstairs, but we're gonna make it through. We're gonna be okay.
As long as the construction fixes the elevator problem, because I'm at the end of my rope with the elevators.
Okay. Well, didn't your boyfriend
trying to go to the elevators during checkout time for coffee? This is a very busy time for fire.
There's 9 elevators.
Right.
Been a rough weekend for you and Leeman on elevators.
No, I'm with Jess on this because they tell you the elevator to go to, you run to
And
it,
then you
sometimes
go,
it's there,
and then you
sometimes
wait,
it's not. Right.
and then you have to go back
Right.
out,
Yeah.
and then you have to go back
we're
in.
complaining about our landlord already?
Too much technology.
I love the Elster.
At the
Yeah.
lovely Elser Hotel?
Just the elevator.
We're just
That's all.
complaining about technological advancements made to elevators.
We're also on an undetermined floor that isn't that far to take the stairs.
I will take the stairs from now on if someone just shows me where they are, because I don't know where they are.
What happened to your boyfriend getting stuck in an elevator this weekend?
He got stuck on an elevator for an hour.
Oh, no.
I will give you, Billy Gill, $10 if you can guess the first thing the firemen said when they rescued him from the elevator. Keep in mind this was in New York City.
I don't know.
Hey, I want a pizza.
That was a good guess. No. No piss.
In an hour, people piss themselves scared
Apparently
that they're stuck
people
on an
piss
elevator.
on the
Yeah.
elevator all
You
the
do
time.
need to pick a pee corner right away and establish it.
Claim it.
That's known.
Just mark your territory. This is my corner. No one come in this corner.
Clearly, it's
Or
got to
pee
be
in
a
the corner.
back, right, or left
That was a
situation,
disgusting
right?
That would
I'm
be the
glad no
first
one heard it.
choice.
It's never
yes.
going to be the
Right.
first, like, near. You don't want it near the buttons.
No.
You don't want it near the doorway.
Right.
You
Back
think
or
no
r-
one heard that?
Back or left, back, right, or left
I hope
corner.
no one heard what I just said.
The elevator, was he stuck with somebody on the elevator?
He was luckily by himself, because if he was, Leeman
Is that luckily? I feel like I'd want someone else in there with
How high up was he?
16.
Oh, no,
pretty
that's
high.
too high to start
yeah.
jumping.
Because if it's going to be like a 24-hour thing, we got to like play some games or something.
I was stuck on
Right,
an elevator
yeah.
once on like 4 with my roommate's mom in college.
See, that's an awkward one.
Yeah.
I don't want to
would've
know you.
preferred
I want to
by
be with
myself.
someone that I don't know that well.
Chris, what game are you playing in the elevator?
The hand slap game. Where I
That
put
or-
my hand on top of yours and
I
I
love
try to
that
move
one,
it real
yeah.
fast before you slap the top of my hand.
That or if the season ended today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes.
I would have died. I would have died if I was stuck in the elevator for an hour. Because what I would have done is start to look for the secret door on the roof. Like, because that's what you have
Yeah,
to do.
the
I've
hatch,
seen too many,
yeah.
exactly right. I've seen too many movies where you escape through the top of the elevator. So you know you need to start looking around. So what would have happened is I would have started kind of looking around. It would have been hidden behind a light or something, and I would have either electrocuted myself doing that, or it would have been like hopping up if it was like a higher ceiling elevator, and then I have to do like a swing where I'm like, huh! Like you have to, I have to swing like that and get my leg up to get onto something to then crawl out of that hatch, and then I would have fallen down and broken my back on the floor of the elevator, or I would have successfully gotten out through the top of the elevator. And then what exactly right? I would have even like had some wind or something, maybe trip and fall off of the side, and then I fell down an elevator shaft by myself, or I would have poked myself on something that, you know, maybe wouldn't have killed me right away, but it would have rust, and then long term I would have died. Or I would have touched something, you know,
What
with
about
some
the
sparks
phone?
coming out of it.
Would you have used that? I've always wanted to use that phone in there.
They don't have phones anymore. They have like a button. Like a
Well, that button. I've always wanted to push that. See where it ends.
Well, there are a number of
Who's here?
There are a
I
number
think he did use the button.
Hello. I'm stuck in here.
CSI. Hello.
Did you piss yet?
Must have had a wires crossed. Where you?
I watched a great Billy, I watched a great Columbo the other day where the killer hid the gun in the hatch on top of the elevator. And then I thought, what if Billy got stuck in this elevator and tried to climb out and found the murder weapon?
Oh, wow.
I would have touched it by accident and then either be implicated in a murder I didn't commit, or when I reached up to pull myself up, hit the trigger and shot myself in the head, and I would have done it. I'm telling you, you try to get out of the top of an elevator and anything can happen.
Billy has brought up a lot of good points here.
I have?
Yes.
Name one.
Trust me when I say that I'm as surprised as you are. But the good points are I have somehow climbed up the roof and now am on top of the elevator. Now what?
They make it look so easy in the movies, and then they go and they're just kind of standing on the doors for the next floor, and they just pry them open with their hands. How on earth can they do that?
When I got stuck in the elevator, we were in between floors, and they had to carry me through a half level.
No, thank you.
It was so. I was like, yes. I was like, what if I get cut in half?
Exactly.
Apparently, it happens all the time. You told me, You told me that once, Billy. I don't think that's actually true.
Stugotz, this is what I'm telling you. Okay.
The now what was a good point?
No. There are many. There are sprawling good points made here, and
you don't want to go being guillotined by an elevator.
I will try to find all of them. And my embargoed football thoughts on the Dolphins will have to wait for a second.
Oh man.
My embargoed NFL thoughts from Sunday, I fell asleep during the 1 o'clock games, will have to wait for a second.
You fell asleep during Carolina Falcons?
That was an atrocity. That was wrong. 45-cent tickets they were charging. Too much. Too much. All of those fans should have been paid for having to endure that. And congratulations, Atlanta Falcons. You're always that. No one trusts you. You're not any good. You had a chance for the division.
They still do.
Because your division stinks. You still do. But you stink and get out of our lives.
Yeah.
No one believes you can do anything this year. Mm-hmm. But, Billy.
So we got your Falcons thoughts before the Dolphins thoughts. Okay.
Embargoed.
Right.
I've got a lot of thoughts on football. Embargoed, all of them. Okay. Because Billy made a lot of good points.
Right.
Billy, in the middle of that, said that 16th floor was too high to start jumping up and down. Evidently, he's got a plan to jump up and down until the elevator goes down a few floors, and then when it hits the ground, he will also jump up and then not get hurt.
Yeah, you know the trick. Yeah, you have to jump right before it hits the ground, and then you land, and then you're good.
I've heard that you're supposed to kind of bend your knees and then hold on and kind of brace.
You're supposed to actually lay flat, and then everything absorbs
that
the blow at the same time.
I'm not laying
down. That seems like a good way to break your back.
Never laying down.
No.
Well, I don't know the right way to do this, but I wish to discuss it. But the other thing that you've just brought up, which I'm sure that you've been afraid of because you're afraid of everything in this scenario, is you climb up, you try to climb up, you fall on your back, you break your back, and then it climbs one floor, goes back to working again, and now the doors swing open, and you've got a broken back as they swing open and the elevators work again. That's what you're scared of, correct?
Well, I'm scared of a number of things. Also, now just kind of talking about it, let's say I miraculously do get to the top of the elevator. I would be the person that accidentally has the hatch close while I'm outside, and then there's no way to open it, and then no one will know that I'm out there, and then I'll just die of starvation on the top of an elevator
or
forever.
It goes to the top floor and you're crushed.
That happened in a Mission Impossible movie.
It did.
Yeah.
Which,
Emilio.
by the way, dude, poor Emilio. He missed the boat. Emilio Estevez was
the Mighty Ducks guy.
The Mighty Ducks guy. But he could have been one of the Mission Impossible guys if there was any foresight, and if his agent or whoever was how about we don't kill him off 5 minutes into a franchise that's going to go 10 movies long. Terrible move. Agreeing to be killed that early on. Terrible move. I saw the other one last week or the week before. Not bad.
He's the best. He just keeps talking sometimes.
Who would you most or least want to be stuck with on an elevator from our crew?
Oh, wow.
If it had to be two of us, then Stugotz, you're on there. Who would you want to be with?
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. What do you prefer if you're stuck on an elevator? By yourself or with someone else there? And I think all of us are agreeing we don't want multiple people there, right? You don't want 6 people in the elevator.
One or two.
I got to have room to sleep if we got to be here a while.
I would go with Juju from our crew.
Why was the firefighter asking about piss? Piss from fear? Piss because you could not hold it? Piss because some people are going to go through a series of claustrophobic people. They're going to get scared and they might piss themselves the way. Didn't David Njoku say yesterday that Hail Mary in the end zone wasn't his quote, "I damn near shit myself, dog"? Like, is the piss from fear?
So Leeman didn't follow up with the firefighter and ask, why do people piss in the elevators? But I imagine that people are on the elevator coming home from a bar or a restaurant or a day of activities in New York, and they always have to pee. You always have to pee when you come back to your apartment, right? You always have to pee, right? You don't just pee when you're out, especially in New York. There's nowhere to pee. So luckily he didn't have to pee, but his friend did, and his friend almost came home just to pee in his apartment. Luckily he didn't, because he would have been the one to pee in the elevator.
I'm thinking to myself, if I've come out of that particular vulnerable and experience for an hour, the firefighter has to have better bedside manner than greeting me with, didn't piss yourself, huh?
Good icebreaker, I think.
Trying to lighten the mood.
Yeah.
The firemen were angry. Yes. The firemen were angry because the building maintenance didn't get Leeman out faster. So there was a lot of screaming going on, and Leeman and the firemen just yelled at the building people for like an hour after he was stuck in the elevator for an hour.
What do you want the firemen to do? I mean, are you okay? Like what do you want in that spot?
It's
like an icebreaker.
It's just your rescuer's here.
It's a little heavy-handed to meet you by way of greeting and think yourself a piss yourself person. Like,
you need some good elevator humor at that point, like just a pun or something.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
What's a time that would make all of you scared? An hour is something. We're now entering an area where you start thinking about some of the things, like if I have to go to the bathroom and I don't want to piss myself, I don't want to be alone sitting in my urine.
I think it depends. If there's someone talking to you the whole time, I think I could do an hour. If there's no communication, like my phone doesn't work and the button's not working, then 20 minutes, I am pissing everywhere.
I got his opening line. Elevators never let you down, huh? Because they were stuck
I wouldn't
up.
want to be stuck in an elevator with you, Chris.
Yes.
How long before you get off your feet? Like either sit down or like just lay down?
3 minutes tops.
After 10 minutes, I'm sitting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
10?
Get comfortable. I got to establish my corner in here.
I'm not making it 10.
When do you take off your first article of clothing because it's too hot?
Billy, I have you shirtless on top of the elevator.
Dead because I shot myself in the head with a murder gun or I electrocuted myself.
Not yet dead from an electrocution, but from panic and fear because you don't want to reach up on your tippy toes and try to open the elevator doors. You're like, what am I doing out here? I can't believe I climbed to the top of the elevator. Surely it's going to move soon and crush my head because there's not going to be room here. You'd be afraid of every circumstance and you'd scamper back into the elevator.
Yes, and I'd trip and fall into the elevator and probably break my neck.
This job has a lot of ups and downs.
Oh, God.
Did you Google elevator puns?
He did.
No!
He's reading off his phone.
And it's firefighter Alex Jones.
Some people take the elevator, others get the shaft.
That's a good one.
No, it's not.
The shaft.
Live on DAZN pay-per-view December 23rd. Day of reckoning. Witness the biggest names in boxing.
Here we go, our main event.
Wilder versus Parker and Joshua versus Wallen. Headline a history-making boxing card.
This is expected to be fight of the year.
Legends will be forged. The furnace awaits. Reckoning is in the ring. Live on DAZN pay-per-view. Buy now at DAZN.com. Don't miss.
Peloton is your stage to work out your way. On a bike, on the mat, the great outdoors, at a gym, or even in your home. A Peloton in your house means you make the rules. You exercise when you want, wear what you want, and sing as loud as you want. When you spend your hard-earned money, you don't just buy a Peloton, you open the door for you to do you. And nothing beats the feeling of exercising on your own terms. Enter the Peloton bike, the freedom to move how you want to move. Ride, run, sweat, sing like nobody's watching. Why not bring a Peloton bike plus home for the holidays and work out your way? Focus on you this holiday season. Peloton is your stage to unleash the real you. You want to try a climb, high-intensity interval training, or low-impact ride class? You can. Or hop off the bike and pivot the screen to do a bar class, a strength class, or even a yoga class. You can. Make yourself uncomfortable in the comfort of your own space. For Peloton's December offer, head to onepeloton.com/deals. All access membership separate. Terms apply.
Dan Batard.
Sports.
Stugotz.
More sports.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Before we get out of here today, Stugotz, I have to get to the heartbreak that was Friday night, walking in to the Palace Emporium where Mike Ryan and Chris Cody are sports kings, owners of a High Life franchise. And I see Udonis Haslem shirtless, covered in champagne, in front of Ray Lewis, who is introducing the new champions who have just defeated the Cesta Cyclones. And Udonis Haslem is sliding down the court on his stomach through champagne because they're so happy to have wiped the floor with the Cesta Cyclones. It was not close. It was depressing because, Stugotz, Ron McGill lost $50,000 that night. His endowment.
Okay.
His endowment, if they had beaten Udonis Haslem, yes, that's him grittying right there.
He bet endowment money on this game.
That's weird. Yeah.
The winning team gets $50K to the endowment. So if we had won, UD's foundation will now get that $50K.
You can't lose $50K if you never had $50K.
Right.
He was despondent. He went there to win $50K, and if his team had played better, if Manu had played better, if they needed to be a good deal better, because Udonis, his team kicked everybody's ass. But the thing that I wanted to talk about before we get to all of that, because I felt like Chris Cody and Mike Ryan were hurting. I don't know if it carried into the rest of their weekend or not. But I want to finally get to my embargoed NFL and Dolphin thoughts.
Wow.
After much anticipation.
You've never teased them before.
I know.
This is the first time in show history.
Correct. That is correct. I've never
rattled.
teased an embargoed Dolphin thoughts. Again, God Bless Football is coming on after the show. So these are the exclusive fresh football thoughts of the Le Batard Show with Stugotz. And there was a lot of football the last couple of days. Saturday's football was better than Sunday's football, but none of the football was particularly good. A ton of unders come in yesterday, a lot of backup quarterback play, but a couple of interesting things, including everyone's going, oh, my God, you don't want to see Buffalo in the playoffs, obviously.
Right.
And we can question Dallas today at the top of the sport, but it seems pretty clear that the most balanced teams in the sport, San Francisco and Baltimore, they can beat you the most ways, and the Dolphins are in the realm of that conversation. The Chiefs are close to whatever it is that you would trust that team with one game. The only reason you wouldn't trust the Bills is because they've been the Bills. Like, it's the only reason, Stugotz. Everybody would fear playing that team.
It's different, though, because the Bills are still trying to make it into the playoffs, into the postseason. If the Bills were having a dominant season, you might not trust them. But now they're a team that you just don't want to see.
It's just a very difficult... I can make the argument that Buffalo is better than Miami, not in the standings. I cannot. But in terms of balance, I'd fear that game if I were the Dolphins at the end of the season for the division. But I want to get into some other things, including the New York Jets of Stugotz. The beloved beaten Stugotz went to a game yesterday, and it's not just that his quarterback gets concussed. It's not just they score 0 points. It's not just that they've fallen to the bottom of the division that gets them eliminated at the end of that day from the playoffs when everybody's still in the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
The season started with Aaron Rodgers. The season started with Stugotz and Greeny saying, Super Bowl, Super Bowl.
Yep.
And you got from the Patriots what you needed.
A bad season.
And the Jets were supposed to play with the Dolphins and the Bills, but they now have not made the playoff for 13 straight years. That is the longest streak in football, and in basketball, and in baseball, and in hockey. Over the last 13 years, no team has not made the playoffs more anywhere in sports you're watching than the New York Jets.
Yep.
They got Aaron Rodgers. They had him for 4 plays. And now this one's so good, Stugotz. This one's so good. You're going to really risk $60 million in guarantees on a 40-year-old quarterback because he wants to get back for a game or two this season?
It's crazy.
You're going to risk next year's guarantees, $60 million after this season, because he's been cleared and he wants to get back by Christmas and play a couple of games, and you're going to leave that decision to him?
I'm not doing it. I mean, they're leaving that decision to him. They've left the entire organization to him. He's making all the decisions for that organization. So he's going to be cleared to play football. To play football this week, according to reports, the doctors are going to clear him this week. I think it's insane if Aaron Rodgers takes a single snap for the Jets this year, but I think he's going to do it. It's not my decision. It's not what I would do. I would have him sit until next season. But It's something that Aaron Rodgers clearly wants to prove, and it's something that he clearly wants to do.
It is funny to see him on the sidelines just looking like the head coach. I know a lot of quarterbacks, when they're hurt, have wore the headset, but they cut to him after plays. He's always mouthing stuff. He does seem to be the guy in charge.
No, but let's think about this for a second. Honestly, if we're talking about player empowerment and what the quarterbacks realized, including Brady, hey, yeah, I can get a $375 million broadcasting job. And now where these guys are going to compete.
Were we talking about player empowerment?
Well, we weren't. But when you talk about Aaron Rodgers running the team.
Right. Well, he is. I mean.
But that would be power, would it not? He wanted ownership of the team. He asked for a percentage. They did not allow it.
I just want to be clear because I haven't necessarily bought in on this segment because do you think that this is actually happening? I know he wants to play, or at least wants it out there that he wants to play. You think he's actually going to play football this season?
I hope he doesn't, but I think Aaron so badly wants to show everyone that I can come back this quickly from that injury that, yes, I think he's going to play.
What I'm trying to get down to, where does the opinion end? Where does it, where is that an informed take? Are there people reporting that this is so?
I mean, he's trying to do everything he can to get back to play. Otherwise, he would tell you, hey, I'm going to shut it down for the season, but he's not doing that. He's saying the doctors are going to clear me to play this week. Now, whether or not he plays is yet to be seen, but Mike, I think he will because he's gone so out of his way to show everyone, hey, I don't care. You tear your Achilles, you're not sitting out for a year. You can come back this year, and I'm going to show everyone that I can do it.
If Tom Brady noticed what LeBron was getting and said to himself, I want ownership while I'm playing, and Aaron Rodgers was stopped from getting ownership, but one of the reasons he's leaving Green Bay is because, hey, I'm my own economy. I'm the one who makes the teams matter. I can get someplace, go from Green Bay to New York, and run the team in a way I wasn't allowed to, where the stockholders own Green Bay. I don't get to pick the players. I have to fight to get Lazard. I have to get Cobb. I have to fight in order to get. Let me go over here and run the entire franchise.
I don't think the Packers fought back that hard on Lazard or Randall Cobb.
You understand what I'm saying, though? Yeah. The Jets allowed him to. He was getting the players he wanted from the salary cap.
Dan, he went to a team and an organization that hasn't made the playoffs in 13 years. It's one of the worst organizations in the history of sports. Yes, he went there because he wanted some of that power. Yes.
So, at the top of the division, where the Jets were supposed to be in or not, mathematically eliminated yesterday. The Dolphins have disposable running backs. The Jets got the one the Dolphins wanted, Dalvin Cook at a price.
Yep.
Jets got him. He's done nothing. I saw Ezekiel Elliott yesterday, 11 carries for 25 yards. We spend these guys quick. Burn up their bodies. You remember what Zeke looked like when he came into the league? Can't do it anymore. Done.
Yep.
Few years. Get out of here.
That quickly.
That's how fast it happens. He's not a big-time veteran. That's the economy changed on him. He got his money in Dallas, but then they decided, no more money for these guys. They tried to replace Mostert all offseason. 20 touchdowns. Like what kind franchise record? They've got 3 games left. He's not one of the best players in offensive history for the Miami Dolphins. He's not, but yes, he is. But he's not, but yes, he is. Like, what is that? Franchise record. You look at all the other numbers of people who score touchdowns in that sport for this franchise. A lot of them in a season, all stars.
Can we give it up one time for Mark Clayton and how long he held those records?
Good
Tyreek beat the yards record this year. Mostert beat the touchdowns. He held those things along.
Tough year for Mark Clayton, though.
We respect you, sir.
Weak applause by the room.
I did it by myself. Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of my 32 teams. So.
Yeah.
So true.
Can you guys explain to me what Mostert is worth when he's 20 touchdowns and they tried to replace him all offseason? What the position is worth?
They didn't actively try to replace him, though. They
tried to add.
If
right.
there was an opportunity, they'd take it at their price, which, by the way, Greg was kind of ahead on this, where everyone was kind of giving him crap about the fact that the Dolphins wouldn't break the bank to go after Dalvin Cook. And he's like, I mean, if it's the right price, you do it. If not, you don't, because they believe in the running back. And they ended up being right. And Achane has also been incredible. I don't think anyone in this studio was talking about him headed into the season.
Oh, but my point isn't that they are remarkably special players on their own. They're very fast. Both of them are very fast. And so the scheming that the coach does gets you to 10-4. It gets you to, they look like that, whether it's Tyreek Hill or Waddle. It doesn't,
Waddle looked like Tyreek Hill yesterday.
Waddle
slotted into that
Waddle,
position.
when he was the number 1 receiver, put up the Tyreek Hill numbers. Now, that's against a team that's done. That's against a team that can't do anything.
But it's also against a really good defense, where quarterbacks haven't all season long really been able to do anything against that defense.
It was impressive to see because no Tyreek Hill. You beat a team that has some momentum, has a good defense. And it was funny because Peter King was telling us last week that he spent time with Mike McDaniel, and McDaniel told him, I don't look at the opposing team. I don't look at their film. I tell our guys, if we do this exactly right, execute correctly, we can't be stopped.
But on the flip side, I think that Tony Romo said it during the broadcast. It's fine for a game without Tyreek Hill. Like, you could do it for a game, but then teams will figure it out.
Oh, you can do it for a game against half a team. You're not going to do it in a playoff game. Like, it's not going to look like that in a playoff game unless it's against the Colts or one of these teams that are bottom rung. But they're better than most of the teams in the league. And they're going to have to win a turnover battle if they face a Baltimore or a San Francisco because those teams are better. And maybe a Buffalo too, because those teams are about the same. But Buffalo feels to me, and I may be wrong about this because the health is the only thing that matters, but that defense felt better than Miami's last year. And what the Dolphins added in Jalen Ramsey is a guy in 2 games against the Jets this year. That's Garrett Wilson. He's pretty good. I understand you don't have a quarterback, but it's 4 targets. It's 3 catches against him for 25 yards. That's what you got. You got the ability to do that in the postseason, but you're hoping that you had Phillips as part of a pass rush.
Right.
It's not as good as it used to be, and if you're not healthy, your pass rush isn't as good as Buffalo's.
It still looks damn good. And outside of 2 fluke drives against the Titans at the end of that game, the last 5 or 6 weeks, this defense has been as good as the offense.
Chubb has been so good. And by the way, I'm tired of Dolphin fans telling me now that the Titan loss was a good loss. It was a galvanizing loss.
It was a
humbling
loss.
It was a terrible loss.
Who's saying it's a good loss? That's a straw man.
I went to the game yesterday, Dan. That means I listened to the post game on my radio on the way home, and that's what they were saying on Big 106.
I think they could have clinched already had they won that game.
Straw man.
Bring it up with O.J. McDuffie.
I don't think they're on Big 106 anymore.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I listened.
I think you're totally full of shit. Are you rummaging through your pocket?
I was looking for something,
for cigarettes? What are you doing?
There was something stuck in my pocket. I can't explain it.
Something from 8 months ago?
Yeah.
Same jeans you've been wearing for 8 months?
Oh, I washed them.